they
end up with a Tiny 4.
If they won those games with Tiny, I'm pretty sure they're the only team, actually the only team that's won with Tiny.
It might be the only win with position 4 Tiny.
Okay, yeah, I mean, Tiny, like you said, 20% win rate, it might even be a little bit lower. Really, though, I said this a few times today, the Tiny, the reason he has that name at this point in this tournament is because
these Tiny players, they're stubborn as a rock, dude.
Yeah. It's really good. That was really good. I'd be lying to you if I didn't say that I liked that one.
You know, I saw that one coming. Oh, you're gonna.
This was not prepared. So yeah, Lion and Timbersaw on the other side. We've seen in our previous series what the strength tri-cores can do. Not necessarily all 3 strength, but the heroes that become tanky early on, that build into these early items like Magic Wand, Soul Ring. You get a casual Ogre Axe. There was a Dragonite in the previous game, which was a thing in Southeast Asia and China. Most of those games that I watched were just stomps. Like, you don't have enough damage to kill them.
I think the main thing, like, kind of moving away from the draft for a second for BeastCost, the reason why they've fallen short so far in the group stage is their desire to just fight non-stop. Like, coming into the group stage, everyone's like praising them on, they force mistakes, they're amazing, they're so aggressive. But it's that aggression that's actually dismantling the team. They're playing as like 3v5, they're taking fights with like someone showing in a lane, like they're just constantly looking for fights where realistically you just need to be patient and farm.
This is going to sound really rude, and I don't mean it to, but I feel like it's almost the best way to sum up my take on them right now. They're playing like a caricature of themselves. Like, it's almost like they know what their identity is, and they're trying to do it, and it's not there. It's just not all there. It's just not quite right. Now, we are going to see the morph coming in from Team Spirit, but yeah, it just feels like BeastCost just really hasn't been able to play the style that has a lot of people cheering for them.
No, yeah,
I think both of the teams are kind of drifting away from the style that they play, especially Team Spirit. If you look at the drafts that they played during the second season and what they've been playing at the start of the major, like trying out heroes like Warlock, which is not something that they did, playing more of a passive style. They have Toronto Tokyo. Like, this guy caught my eye when he was playing for the Yellow Submarine, when he was back known as Mio.
5 seconds.
And he's the most aggressive player. He's the player that has the most assists and kills in the Eastern European Season 2. So I hope this is a Tiny, because it kind of suits their playstyle. Play fast, not rely on any cooldowns, which allows him to move around the map. If the matchup is good, if it's a position 4 Tiny, I don't know, man. I just don't. I don't know. I like, there's so many other position 4 heroes that are 10 times better than Tiny.
Can I play the lane, right?
Sorry.
No, please, no more.
I keep going back to this position 5 Tiny that was played in Southeast Asia multiple times. I believe TNC run it 2 or 3 times, and some other teams, and it looked really good. It looked much, much better than position 4.
Okay. Keep that in mind as we get a little bit more progressed here.
In regards to the pick so far, though, you know, the concerns I had for BeastCost and the idea of the character, the identity that you mentioned, they're kind of moving away from that because of the Timbersaw on the line. These are heroes that simplify that, because if they want to play aggressive, it's really easy to play around a lane that is barely loses. Like, Timbersaw line is such a potent lane, and it's what basically carried Virtus Pro to their first place in the Eastern European division and Alliance to the first place in the Western division. It's because you can't ever really shut down the Timbersaw in lane, and
that's really
Nigma
interesting.
played
I have not heard many
game.
people actually say that about Alliance and crediting that to how they were able to do it. That's really interesting, and I'll keep that in mind as well. So now, as we start to look a little bit more, what boxes do we need to check here for Team Spirit?
What boxes? They have this late game secured with the morph. Could potentially be a mid morph. A lot of flexibility from the team. Right now they are protecting their morph pick, banning out the Phantom Lancer, something that morph does not like to play into. All these mana burn and illusions. This hero has always been weak against it. Faceless Void. What is that? Sorry, what is that last hero?
That's an Ursa band, yeah.
Ursa? Okay.
I had to squint for a second, but it is an Ursa.
I legitimately could barely see it, but I've gotten used to the
I like
squiggles.
what you
Yeah.
barely see it. Yeah, it was like it's unbearable. It's almost like impossible.
I'm so glad you got that.
10 seconds remaining.
I'm the pun master, I know.
Yeah.
You did a great job.
5 seconds.
It was a
Radiant
very good
team
joke, Rich. So yeah.
I can't believe they let us back on a panel with each other. They usually don't let
the first
this one
time,
happen.
or did I? No, it's the second time because mostly I've been casting.
Yeah,
but
you're
I
mainly
miss
casting,
working
yeah.
with you, Rich.
Did we do a panel
Probably
together?
after 3-4 series, I'll be like, man, I wish this guy's fired again.
That's not true.
That's not.
He's trying, though, to be fair. Like, he doesn't need you to motivate.
I'll
No.
never forget. I'll never forget. CQ Major, one of my first panels. I'm real nervous. We're going live. We're about to get
10
started.
seconds
Lacoste looks at me and he just goes,
I wasn't even there for the first panel. I've been missing in action.
vibing.
It took me 4 days to get there.
Our first panel together.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, our first panel together after the vocabulary incident that we had. But I don't want to pay too much attention to that. Let's talk about this pick coming out from Team Spirit.
I like this. I talked to Fogged about Team Spirit, you know, to give me a bit more insights about the
10
team,
seconds
and he
remaining.
told me Miposhka, he's really good at the heroes who are who have built-in
seconds
save, and he's really good at disruptor. Like his positioning
Yeah.
is top tier. So one of the reasons it always has been the CIS classic. This hero, you have a good front line that can provide you with the vision for a good glimpse back, and Witch Doctor. I don't
So-
know. I just don't see the reason why they would pick
There,
it here.
there comes the reason. It's just
This
strong lane, right?
sure, it's a sustain for CK. Usually, from what I've seen, CK in China and some Southeast Asia was off lane. It worked really well because he puts ton of pressure, strong laner as a
10
carry.
seconds
I don't think I like it that much.
The main idea for BeastCoast is they're just trying to play a bit more explosive, right? Like, they're going to have a strong Lion Timber lane. They have kill threat with Witch Shot to CK. They're going to have this last pick for their mid lane. Like, they're going to have a clean enough draft to run around. And it's about fight. Like, we literally just discussed how they fight, but they feel a little bit empty with their fight. Now they have some purpose. For Team Spirit, a reason why I also like the Disruptor pick here is because against Timbersaw, minute 4 or 5 plus when he's taking your tower, or trying to, you're a support that can actually aggro the creep wave away from the tower with Thunderstrike. And then the glimpse, Timbersaw, when he goes in, like, he timber chains in, but he can't get back into the fight once again after glimpse. So the smaller kind of intricacies of the hero will give some kind of laning presence for Team Spirit to play around.
Yeah, I kind of like what the Team Spirit's got here. They have good combo, vacuum into Static Storm, follow it up by Avalanche. Morphling, great against Timber, can turn into him, and then you have this... like, I don't know how they kill this Morphling. There is burst damage coming up from the Timber, from the Lion, but it's a good Tiny game. I hope they're going to keep this Tiny on a mid lane so that he can get the farm. Easy supports, like these two supports died
10
relatively
seconds
easy to
remaining.
one combo from Tiny. And you have someone to enable you on top of it. Like, you have
5
Darkseer
seconds
that can
remaining.
surge you in, put the Ion Shell, Rich, back to you.
Yeah, it's one of those lineups too where it's good on paper, but then it's even better when you notice the names that are assigned to all those heroes, right? Everybody is going to be nice and comfortable
Yeah,
with them.
this is how they need to beat Tiny. Like, it's pretty much rock, paper, scissors, so looks good on the paper, probably can wrap it around and just beat him. Again, back to you, Rich. Not this is your time, you know. You have to say something, otherwise it's
10
gonna be
seconds.
cringe.
No, well, so sometimes,
Or nothing.
you just really you let it be silent for a while.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Dramatic
Because
stuff.
that's the moment where you can see the real ones in chat, where they don't try to kill the cringe, they try to kill the part of them that cringes, and that's when the real champions are bored. But the question is, who's going to be the real champion inside of this matchup? See that late TA ban going out there.
Think about more. They could still go for 4 Tiny. I wouldn't mind it that
I
much
feel like-
because you're playing into Darkseer. But I do not want to see those mistakes being made where Darkseer and
5
Tiny are the
seconds
same level.
remaining.
I want to see Darkseer being level 3, Tiny level 2, not more than level 2. Like, not a single point in XP after he reaches level 2.
The key thing is basically Tiny prevents the lane from ever getting pulled back into kind of a kill threat area, but it gives Darkseer XP to then turn the fight and actually make some plays off that. TA and Puck ban from Team Spirit because TA is bonkers as a hero. It farms way too quickly, and Team Spirit doesn't really have a way to go collapse on mid lane. A lot of their heroes are basically static to the side
But
lane.
they have things to collapse on the mid lane if they're off laners.
Yeah, no, if the offlaner plays in mid, sure, they have a lot of
No,
collapse
you didn't get the
potential.
joke. It was the
No, I know, I
Oh,
agree. Yeah,
you
I'm
got it.
continuing.
Why wouldn't you laugh? You have to laugh. You have to chuckle.
I love working with Lacoste.
Another, but to be more serious,
They have another pick.
I don't have anything serious to say right now.
No, I mean, if we keep small talking, they'll pick the hero, then we get to talk about the hero they pick, so that helps.
Radiant team pick.
Ember Spirit, yes. Another hero to play with Iron in the Darks here. They now have Tiny and Ember Spirit, who, utilizing Iron Shell and Surge, will be able to poke and prod. And they finally have an answer to the illusions. We just mentioned the inability of really killing Morphling. Oi, alright.
Select your heroes.
Okay.
That's good. That's good.
It's a good Shadow Fiend.
That's nice.
They have one stun, they have Vacuum, not too many things to disrupt his ulti. Should be careful about the Tiny. Like Tiny loves to make a rotation on Shadow Fiends early on. I also want to see some small camps being blocked, especially against the SF. Ember also the one that loves the mid small camps where you can just farm the lane, out push it, and farm the small camp on top of it. I didn't think I'll see a hero that could potentially salvage the draft for BeastCost, but Shadow Fiend might be it. It's super risky, but I kind of like it. Still favoring Team Spirit's draft, to be honest.
Yeah, it's funny to see just how even though everybody in chat really is. Makes a lot of sense based off of what we've seen from these teams. I think going into this, you might be giving just based off of what we've seen from BeastCost. They've kind of been dropping the ball in some areas where you wouldn't have necessarily expected them to. And Spirits also had kind of the opposite. Maybe they haven't been having the best performance, but they've been making some big upsets where it's like, wow, I can still really believe in this team. Maybe favoring them slightly before we even got to the draft. But now that we do see the draft, Tigov, where do you sit on this one?
I actually kind of like BeastCoast draft because they've been able to muscle up against some of the better teams. Just they've had a little element missing. And this is the type of draft, all-out fight, all-out kind of tankiness. And as long as Shadow Fiend goes for BKB early, I think they're going to be in a good spot. So, yeah.
All right, you heard it from Tigov, but also keep in mind just how important this one is. If BeastCoast drops the ball, they will be going home. Let's get into the action.
That is Cinderin.
Yep, that's me.
We got some very important matches, Cinderin. The panel kind of talked about it. BeastCoast, they are second to last right now. Spirit right above them, third to last in that threshold of the bottom two. They get eliminated from the tournament. BeastCoast, I don't even know if a draw is good enough. They need to go 2-0, it feels like.
Theoretically, they can draw if they then win their next series, or if they yes, they would have to win, right? Or, no, they could actually draw this and then draw their next series as long as Spirit loses fully in their next one. Then they could get a tiebreaker.
And you never want to rely on another team to lose. And
realistically, if you want to make it here, you got to show up today. And honestly, BeastCoast has been... They've been kind of weird to watch because a lot of the, a lot of people came in with high hopes for this team. SA has definitely been stepping up their game recently. We saw Thunder Predator, the previous major, showing great signs of life, and they didn't even make it here.
Yeah.
So they lost to this team. Then we have, obviously, No Ping Esports coming up later in the playoffs, but I think a lot of people would expect BeastCoast to, at the very least, get out of the group stage based on how the SA region has been improving. But right now, in a lot of their games, they've been kind of stomped. And in some of the games, they've held their own, but just been outclassed in super late game situations. And if there's one thing that's pretty clear in this major, in a lot of the series, especially against Chinese teams, is that you need to be able to win those games after 35 minutes, unless you're Nigma and you just stomp them in 15. But
yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Then a little bit of a spoiler there, I guess, but yeah, the Nigma Vici Gaming series today was quite something.
Yeah, and I actually ran into BeastCoast a little bit earlier, and they were in still pretty high spirits, despite, no pun intended there, but despite, being in the bottom two, but they said specifically, we know that this is the match that is most important now. We have to show up.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's not like they're going into this unaware. So that is definitely good to see. We haven't seen Shadow Fiend. The panel kind of brought that up. What are your thoughts on this hero right now?
I think the hero, in order to really shine, needs to have a lane-winning matchup, which he has. The reason BeastCoast is tempted to pick it here is that he will either face more for Ember. Both are exceptionally Shadow Fiend favored, so I would be shocked if he doesn't come out of that lane with a big lead. Then, ideally, you want to play with multiple stuns, so you can hit your Raze combos, or you can get a Requiem. He has both the Chaos Knight, the Witch Doctor Cask, and Lion, so that's nice. And for the X factor, to make it even better, you want to play against few stuns. That's the first blood for Whisper.
First blood. Whisper takes it like you said. Schofield's going to pop his fairy fire in the meantime. They're actually going to burst down Yataro on the Morphling. Don't think he was expecting that amount of damage, but that is a very good start for BeastCoast.
Great second skill point in Hex there when leveling up to level 2. Just caught the Morph off guard. Yeah, nice start for BeastCost. I have to say, going into this series, before seeing any picks, I was going to favor Spirit. I think I picked them to win today, just based on, I think their average performance has looked better than BeastCost. But it's not one of those series where I'm super confident in picking a 2-0, just because BeastCost have had those good performances once in a while. In this tournament, there's been games that have definitely looked like class. So if they show their best, you know they can do it. And they've got some really good trademark heroes too for them. Something I like to see out of teams where they're struggling a little bit, you know, you kind of go back to basics. You play some things that you're really, really good at. I love seeing the Hector Chaos Knight. It's not really a very favored pick right now, but they see it here. They want to go for that. They also picked the Witch Doctor that hasn't been very popular for Stinger, also one of his better heroes. So I love the creativity. And like you said, they know they got to bring something fresh to the table here, and they need to win this series. And so far, looking at the lanes, they are destroying them.
Yeah, not too shabby all around. You can see the CS from the 3 cores of BeastCoast are in the lead. Of course, it is very early on, and Shadowfiend is one of those heroes which, I mean, one of the biggest reasons he's not like this consistent pick throughout all these years of Dota is because he just doesn't have an escape mechanism. He's very susceptible to ganks, which we'll have to wait and see if Spirit has something planned up, or something up their sleeve for the laning stage.
It's definitely something to think about just from a drafting perspective with how Team Spirit approached this when they picked Morph and then Ember is, we'll have to wait.
Damage coming, because it's going to be a trade for supports here. Yatoro will not get caught out. But, I mean, what does this matchup look like to you? I mean, forget about the supports for a second. This is going to eventually just be Morphling and Timbersaw. Timbersaw, I assume, will just be fine.
Yeah.
Despite, there's some magic damage from Morphling, but not that much this early.
I think it roughly becomes a farm lane when Morph has Morbid Mask. I think for the most part you can sustain. Maybe if Timber hits an early 6, the pressure can get a bit insurmountable. That's going to be a kill for sure.
Beautiful. That's a Maledict, and the right click is actually going to finish him off. So Stinger, let's talk about Witch Doctor. This is a hero that the panel was kind of baffled by, and it's a hero that I'm a little baffled that people haven't been picking it against the Enchantresses that I feel like are coming every single game because of the stun lasting longer on creeps. As top lane, another enormous kill onto Yatoro. So BeastCoast just absolutely dominating this lane.
Dude, they're 2K ahead minute 4. That is really big. That is the biggest lead I've seen this tournament, minute 4, I think.
We did have one game that was pretty stompy.
We had a 2K lead minute 5 the other day.
Okay.
But, like, it's just crazy, right? They're basically doubling up CS every lane. Like, usually you don't really see this unless if it's in like a regional game where it's a tier 1 team against a tier 2 team.
Right.
Like, they're actually just getting dumpstered in lanes. And that's concerning because if you look at the Dire lineup, I mean, Proshka's going to die too.
Support's dying on both sides of the map.
Dialing on him up here. I'm a bit concerned for Spirit because when you look at the structure of their lineup, it's a bit tempo heavy, right? It's snowballing. You want to use Ion Shell on Ember and Tiny. You want to run in and find kills. Morphling needs time to farm. Disruptor is an offensive support.
Salve onto K1. He's going to be collapsed on by Collapse himself, Cinderin. That is the Chaos Strike into the Maledict as well. K1 actually
should be fine.
Using the Reality Rift to reset here. Did not want to go into that double Ion Shell.
They did break his salve successfully. He needs to be a bit careful here. Mira could spell combo him. Good stun.
Yep, trying to keep him at bay here. Was that another salve that was canceled?
I think so. I think you heard the sound.
Big.
I think Stinger used it on him in the fog.
All right, what are your thoughts on Chaos Knight in general? Because obviously the last big change they made was, as we're going to perhaps see some action here.
Oh, that's another kill.
Yep, that's Chaos Strike to follow with that minus armor applied. That's going to be enough damage. Stinger racking up the kills on this Witch Doctor.
Great cask. I mean, honestly, so the worst feeling, I know in your pub games, you're like, why is he taking this kill? You know, just always give it to the carry. First of all, it's never bad that supports get kills. Gold is good on every hero, but the worst feeling is when you're trying to give the kill to your carry, and then there's like a stick fairy fire, and you miss the kill.
Right.
Like, that is just so bad. So I always have the opinion, just make sure the hero dies. Like, it's better to get the kill and split the gold than... Unless you're fully confident, like the hero is under your tower and you know they're dead. I mean, fair enough, yeah.
I mean, Whisper is level 6, Yatoro level 5. He just hit it.
Oh, he got it off.
Quite a bit of trouble. Whisper doesn't really have mana, and yeah, the attribute shift is going to be more than enough. The Schofield just being an annoying presence. And remember, attribute shift, even though it's a little mana, it still does cost mana. He's going to drain all of it. Miposhka gets the glimpse off, but the Impale is there from Schofield. Not sure if they're going to be able to get this. Whisper does have enough mana now, so see if they chase Kinetic Field, but the Chakram hits him on the way back, and yet another kill in that top lane. Meanwhile, bottom lane, K1 gets tossed in. Let's talk about CK, because what I was going to mention is ever since they kind of swapped passives, if you will, as apparently Whisper gets another kill top. I can't even speak right now, Synderen. Is that the third death on Morphling?
I think so.
That is not common at all. It feels like such a tanky hero.
He is definitely having a really rough one. I think Disruptor also had 4, right? So they've lost this top lane 1 in 7 in 7 minutes. And it's not because of rotations. They've literally just been destroyed 2v2. And to be honest with you, that's not that surprising. I think the fact that they've lost isn't surprising, but they should not be losing this hard, right? BeastCoast lane is very strong. There's a lot of burst. The Timber loves playing with stunners that have a bit of damage because it allows him to always connect his spells.
Vision.
But Disruptor Morph is just such a weak lane.
Yeah.
It will get exploited, but...
Schofield.
Insult to injury, really.
Yeah, taking the big creep from him. My goodness. Schofield is doing work right now. I mean, he's the same level as the Morphling, for God's sake.
Yeah.
Does have the Morbid Mask on Yatara, so obviously can jungle, at least to some degree. But Whisper is just going to continue to be a presence here, and why not? I mean, this is what Timbersaw is all about. I'm pretty sure that Schofield can just leave this lane now. Yatara can just pressure him all by himself.
There is the possibility for Lion to even stay up here and get level 6 and grab another kill if they wanted to, but probably better to move. He's pretty far away from the 6. It would need like 3 or 4 full waves.
Uh-oh.
He's going to try to connect mid. Chris Luck realizes he's a bit compromised. There's a lot of heroes missing.
Net worth lead at 8 minutes, by the way.
Absurd.
That is gigantic. Okay, now there's no question this is the biggest lead that we've seen, at least. In this tournament. Here we go. Mira coming in, does have the Avatos combo. They kind of mess it up a bit. They don't get the full damage. Stun from Schofield from the side, and Chris Luck is just going ham now. Finds the kill onto Mira. The cast does connect on Toronto Tokyo, but that's going to break things up. I mean, the tier 1 tower is already at half HP. As we talked about, every lane being won by BeastCoast right now very heavily. Siege won't be coming in for another minute. Poshka. Maledic did connect. That's the second raise as well. We'll see if that's enough damage to take him out. It looks like it will be. Yeah, Stinger is level 5 already, so BeastCoast continuing to dominate. We're going to see the Requiem of Souls onto Tiny, who just TP'd back after dying, I believe. Better be careful. It's Schofield. Looks like there's going to be a TP coming in. This will be a pretty big kill on Chris Luck.
Oh, the cast
extremely low. Toronto Tokyo has that Flame Guard applied, trying to run down this Shadow Fiend, and finally they will get a valuable kill. But here comes Whisper to clean up. Double kill for Toronto Tokyo, but he's going to fall very shortly after. So despite all that, BeastCoast still increased their lead to 6K net worth now. And this leaves so much room for K1, who want Midas, by the way.
Exactly. So he's going to outfarm the Morph as well. Usually, I would say Morph can outpace CK if they have equal starts. Morph is a decent carry at farming up because of his mobility with Waveform and his massive damage when he can shift down.
Schofield's level 6. Oh my God, Schofield. He is doing so much work this game. Ay. This is a rough one for Team Spirit. And Whisper, I mean, this is a Timbersaw who's snowballing already. You have to expect him to get more kills, but Team Spirit are here in numbers, but then again, so is BeastCoast. The vacuum into basically nothing because Collapse doesn't have anything else to work with. He's going to get bursted down, and now the chase is onto Mira. This should be yet another death for Tiny. And the Tier 1 tower has already fallen as well, and this is just getting worse and worse for Team Spirit.
Yeah, this is ugly. I was going to make a sports analogy, but
you don't know anything about sports.
Yeah.
This is like the Lakers losing to the Phoenix Suns.
I was thinking that, but they didn't get stomped this hard.
No, I mean, in some of the games they did.
Did they actually get this roll?
We won one game by 30 points.
Did you have an 8K lead after 10 minutes in one of those?
8K lead is probably like a 30-point lead, yeah.
Okay, after 10 minutes.
Yes.
Okay,
something like that.
That's pretty impressive.
That's right. K1, well, he takes a little bit of damage from Toronto Tokyo, but
he is in trouble.
He sure is. That's a lot of pure damage from Whisper, and the Maledict is still applied, but the Flame Guard's there. And looks like I was going to say he's going to be okay, but Whisper is not done going for this. He's going to toss him into Toronto Tokyo. Is that going to be the death of him as a result? What the heck kind of toss was that, Whisper? All right, now, kind of isolated. Doesn't really have too much mana. Soul Ring in 5 seconds, and we're seeing a Requiem on the other side being reserved for Miposhka. And it feels like it doesn't matter what Team Spirit does. They're just finding their way to the grave over and over. It's 18-4.
I'm just so unused to casting games like this at this major because we haven't, like, it's almost...
It's like watching NA Dota right now. Let me tell you, this is a shellacking and a half right here.
In every game at 11 minutes, it has felt like, okay, you know, there might be a team that's ahead, but you can see, all right, that the losing team has this and this move. There's these conditions they can meet. Right now, they're just so absolutely dumpstered everywhere that they're... The only real play I can even imagine is that they have to make like some sort of 5-man rotation with smokes where they have double Ion Shell, they get the initiation, and all their spells land.
And this will be another kill on to Collapse.
It is.
Another raise to come. He's faking it out. He's doing the old SA Classic. And we'll... Oh! There it is. All right. Had to expend a little bit of extra mana because of the BM, but he'll find the kill nonetheless.
Whose time was more valuable, though?
Yeah, Shadow Fiends, probably. I mean... Darkseer, Cinder, we've talked about it before. The stronger your opponents get, the better your illusions become.
Not the best wall targets, though.
Yeah, that is true.
The CK illusion is okay, but it's not like a morph or an anti-mage.
Yeah.
Agility carries are generally the ones you really want with the wall illusion because they've got attack speed.
Plus, you have Lion to just take out those illusions as well, right?
Lion just removes one. Oh, he did morph.
Yeah, he is quite tanky now, thanks to that attribute shift, but Chris Luck is on the way now.
He's still going to die.
No waveform for quite a few seconds. So Avalanche, I think, canceled the Witch Doctor roll, but it really doesn't matter. They're going to find that kill pretty easily. And it will be a trade for the Witch Doctor, so that's something. As Toronto Tokyo will be next to fall. The Requiem, the Death Requiem, not doing enough damage, though,
to
take somebody out.
That was the 5-man move, and they landed all their spells.
That's right, but now Miposh is going to get picked off as... You're right, they did get a very valuable kill on the Shadow Fiend, which they really need. There's the wall into the toss.
Oh, he didn't get the toss he wanted.
K1,
oh,
gonna get helped out by Whisper now. Who, I mean, Whisper feels like the true carry because he is virtually unkillable on Timbersaw.
He is absolutely destroying this game. I definitely think that was the highest impact lane of the game was the Timber Lion. Like, you can expect the Shadow Fiend to also win against Ember. I think that kind of went expected, but I do think they just won top lane more than they had any business doing. In part due to their own exceptional aggressive play, but also Team Spirit underestimating them, really.
Yeah.
I think it's in every Morph player's blood to want to play with as little strength as possible all the time. And sometimes you just have to accept that you gotta sacrifice that 10 base damage sometimes, man. Like, you just... and it's gonna cost you a couple of creeps, but if the alternative is dying to this Lion Timbersaw lane 3 times in 5 minutes, there is no way that will ever be worth it. All right, that's going to be a good catch.
Yeah, this should be a kill.
He is definitely
there's
dead.
no other member of BeastCoast in the vicinity. Schofield doesn't have his ult right now either. Still 80 seconds for that cooldown. Because that's mass. That's helpful. That's helpful, I think. I mean, you already have a Morbid Mass, so I guess it's better than nothing.
It's a great item on Morph.
Yeah, but now 10K net worth lead at 14 minutes. Whew, I mean... What do you see from Spirit here? Like, you're talking about they gotta... I mean, their Wombo comp, it's not like they have amazing team fight.
They can vacuum into static, but it's dependent on the enemy hero's positioning. And the issue is that Shadow Fiend is going to go a relatively quick BKB because he's having such a good game. Timbersaw can live through everything, and he's probably not going to stack with his other cores. So he will always be like pincering them or attacking from the side. And then CK is probably the hero they deal with the best. Right, they have a lot of AoE control, they have a lot of damage for the illusions, but I would, again, imagine he just overpowers them with just raw gold. He can buy too many stats, he can get a BKB himself.
They scan out Stinger, so this might be the death of him, but he is TPing out and will be successful, so I believe BeastCoast just gives up this tier 1, although...
Here comes
Whisper,
Big Bear.
Big Boss incoming, and with that, the entirety of Team Spirit gets out.
See, if you've never played Timbersaw in a game and been in this position, you need to try this one time to truly have experienced what it's like being the god of Dota. Like, when you have the perfect Timbersaw game, you can literally bully 1v4.
Yeah.
They actually scared of him. Let's see. All right.
Yeah, the Static Storm. They have a Veil of Discord. He's going to pop that hood in the meantime. He's going to get some support in the form of the Lion. All right, they can definitely get this kill, and they will do so.
1v5.
A little. That's true. They just. It was 1v4. He would have been fine. That's what your point was, right?
5 heroes with double Ion Shell and basically all spells used, and then they got him. But damn, they had to work for that. It's a good play from Spirit, though. It might, a lot of the times you'll be like, wow, you 5-man to kill, but it gives them the tower on the siege creep wave.
Yep.
Definitely well worth it here. They have to do something like this. And I love seeing it from Spirit. Something that's impressed me about this team is that they're relatively inexperienced on the big stage, but in a lot of the games, they're doing what needs to be done. Whether they're ahead or behind, they're not afraid to take risks. They're not afraid to make big moves, and they're not just accepting defeat, right? A lot of less experienced teams, when they fall behind, they get like nervous. They start defaulting to farming and waiting for that next item syndrome all the time. And this game, they just know, all right, guys, we're screwed. We gotta take our own initiative and find our own moments. That's how you play when you're losing. You're not gonna win by by sitting back against a team that's clearly out-farming you in the game.
Yeah, I mean, keeping that in mind that BeastCost still hasn't gotten like to that next level where they have the double BKB, and they probably will just start to team fight over and over, go for the Roshan kills.
I'm curious what the win expectancy is in this game, actually. I feel like that's
pretty high.
That was something I was going to say around 90, because Shadow Fiend always has this ability to lose any given game, but it's still a very... it's just the hero design, right? You have this like huge damage output, but at the same time you're kind of fragile compared to a lot of heroes, and all of your spells are reliant on
Yutaro gets hexed, but into the double impale, but a nice vacuum wall combination. Static Storm's actually going to cancel a little bit here, as Chrisluck not able to pop his ult in time, but it's going to be a 1-for-1, just support for now. Maledict applied to Yutaro.
Didn't Chrisluck BKB? He just didn't want to ult.
He canceled his ult on his own. I'm not sure why, but I mean, it wouldn't have done a crazy amount because they had gotten mostly out of the vicinity.
I guess it wasn't really worth it, yeah.
But that is the 9-second BKB for him, and I believe CK is still up. As we talk about it, he just finished his BKB for himself.
Yep.
I mean, what are your thoughts on just CK in general? I was bringing this up earlier, and there were just so many kills. They basically swapped passes between Wraith King and CK. I mean, it's been a while now, but the hero just hasn't really found a place, it feels like, at least not consistently. Like, what made them pick him this game?
All
right, back down to below. Collapse, that's the Phantasm. Maledict as well. And it looks like K1 will finally not get his kill stolen by Witch Doctor.
The cute play into the cuter play.
That's true.
Or as we call it, out kawaii'd at this major.
That's true.
Yes,
wow.
that is true.
I think Cinderin deserves a raise for that one.
Yes,
Mira
I do.
Getting caught out as well. Chaos Bolt into the illusion kill. So very nicely done.
So why do they want CK here?
Yeah.
I think...
It's just a lane?
I'm trying to remember the exact draft order. What information did they have? Did they see Darkseer and Tiny at the time?
I don't remember.
I think they did, right? So, I mean, one thing is it's comfort, right? They have a player on it. They want to show up with something else today and surprise their opponents, not pick the same meta stuff that everyone else is playing. So it's definitely an element of surprise in it.
Yeah.
I think they saw a good possibility in the lane, and the synergy with Witch Doctor is very apparent. It's one of the best carries for Witch Doctors to play with. You want someone that kills in Maledict. Unless you're playing a defensive farm lane and you're just going to max out the heal and just sit back. But I find that a lot of the really good solutions to Darkseer are actually lanes that can fight him before level 3. Like, if he doesn't get the first couple of waves for free and get the Ion Shield to level 2 and get his first Soul Ring or whatever, you can kind of just bully Darkseer in so many lanes, and that's exactly what we saw here. Like, he didn't get to play very much at bottom, so that's probably the primary reason. CK is not a particularly good matchup against Morph.
Oh boy, collapse just a little bit too far next to his tier 2 tower, thinking it was safe, but yeah, anywhere there's just a sliver of maneuverability for BeastCost, they're going to find a kill. I'm surprised they haven't really gone for Roshan yet. I mean, they have a little bit of minus armor with the Reality Rift into like the SF aura.
Yeah, they could do it.
I'm not sure if they have a Solar Crest yet, but
it's always like when you're in these positions where you're really far ahead, you can look at it in two ways, right? You could be like, okay, we're really far ahead, let's do Roche. The other thing is, if that is literally the only way we can lose the game is that they catch us in the pit, why bother?
Yeah.
As the Dire has no access to the pit here because you've lost all map control. You're down multiple towers. BeastCoast are already bullying them down to playing around. I don't know how much of the map I would give the Dire right now. 30% is maybe even generous. So if they can't access it and you don't need that Aegis...
Does your base count as part of that percentage?
Yes. Okay. I mean, they have at this point, like, you can draw a line from top to bottom. They have about, yeah, like we're drawing there with...
I think that's fair.
That's pretty much it.
I think that's fair.
That's maybe being a little bit harsh on them. You could put a little bit more to the left. but yeah, they're struggling.
Yeah, K1 and Chrisluck, the SF CK combo, just out-farming everybody by a very large margin. And I don't know, is there any like Morphling? I don't think he's going to go for Ags if he was even going to do that to begin with, but they don't really have any crazy combos that they can go for.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying Morphling's a bad hero if you don't have a combo, but it feels like that's really where his peak is, where you have the option to get something like the Dark Willow or Earthshake or whoever.
It's a big part of the appeal, unless, like, there are games that Morphling just pops off if he has a good laning stage and good core matchups, but again, in this game, he had to choose between... is this a saying in English, pest and cholera?
No.
We have a saying in Denmark, that's that. It means you literally have to choose. You have to choose the lesser evil, or both are really terrible.
Cholera, as in the disease.
Yes.
Okay, Toronto Tokyo pops a BKB as I try to understand what the hell you're talking about. I'm going to get the Witch Doctor right away, but there is the Requiem of Souls, finally using a decent team fight here. They get the Darkseer, so it's a 1-for-1. Definite advantage. Still BeastCoast.
He is in trouble.
Yeah, Whisper and company should be able to clean that one straight very easily.
Okay, so I know you have the saying with like choose the lesser evil, right? Which implies that both things are bad, but there's one that's less bad.
Yeah.
The Danish saying is literally both options are terrible, and you have to pick one of them. Do you have a saying like that?
They're both equally terrible?
Yeah.
So how do you choose one?
I mean, that's the problem, right? You have to do one or the other, but they're both awful.
Okay.
So that's that. Now I even forgot what I was referring to.
Yeah,
but
nobody in chat understands what you're saying.
do you actually not have a saying for that?
No, because there's always one that's more evil than the other. You know? Like, when are they even? Give me an example when they're exactly even.
Pest or cholera.
God, what a terrible saying. Anywho, looks like this tier 3 tower will fall. Miro, okay, that's one win condition potentially. He's going to toss it into the tier 4. And the wall to follow. K1, he's pretty tanky, but he's not the one with the Aegis. So back they go.
That is a great kill.
Absolutely.
That's the play that the defensive team always have when they have Tiny, even when you're losing. Like having any massive repositioning hero can salvage games. They obviously need to do this another 5 or 10 times, but this has to be the play that they need to be looking for. I think repositioning heroes with Tiny is their best chance. Of course, this only worked because CK's BKB was on cooldown. So you need to set up those specific conditions regardless, but yeah.
Schofield pretty close to getting Shard, so you can get the triple mana drain with the magic immunity. The classic for Mr. Lion.
Mira found that ward, but he does not feel safe, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, Lion should not feel safe. Oh,
all
okay.
right, gets the Hex TP.
He is gonna live.
Yes. Pretty close, though. Still 15k net worth lead for BeastCoast. Chris Luck still has the Aegis. I think the timer's a little bit off, but it's maybe about 2:45, I want to say, on that. I mean, the real issue is the high ground. I mean, they're up. It's still only 24 minutes, so the high ground is not going to be like the building taking. Without CK ult, you don't really have that much because Shadow Fiend's not mega tanky yet. This feels like this is a later game. This feels like a 40-minute game right now.
I don't know. I think unless Team Spirit find a really good fight, I give them a lifeline of second Roche. I think that should be the end of the game, realistically speaking. You're going to get overwhelmed by this heart on CK and the multiple BKBs. I do think a world-class team in this situation can actually just end the game right now, which I think in a lot of situations, BeastCoast will probably push for the win here. But given how much is at stake and how the tournament has been so far, I think they're a little bit hesitant to make critical mistakes. And they know that with the position they have in the game and how it's gone so far, these players they're experienced. They know what the trajectory of the game is like. They probably have a pretty good read on how big their lead is and what the graphs look like, because they've played a lot of these games before. So they don't have to worry. But they're still going to put some pressure. Looks like Chris Luck wants to knock on the top front door.
The top front door?
Yep, there's a front door in all 3 lanes.
That's a side door, I think.
Yep, you got to choose one of the doors, and they're equally good.
Cholera.
Okay.
Something. COVID cholera? Is that
there has to be a saying in English. I refuse to believe you don't have this.
I mean, if there is, it's definitely not related to cholera, I can tell you that much.
Yeah.
All right, well, the high ground, I mean, they already have the tier 4 mid, but the wave is not really pushed in for them. But they are going to force out the fortification, which is kind of a big deal. Of course, now that Phantasm is online, K1 is mega tanky. 8-second BKB with the Hardened Sage.
It is go time.
And we'll see what BeastCoast has in store. The wall is up. Literally everything is up.
So Aegis is dropping in 35 seconds. Okay, they're not waiting for that.
Okay, big Static Storm combination. There's the BKBs being used from BeastCoast, and that is a dead Tiny to start things out. But it did cost them all their BKBs.
That is not too bad.
Yeah.
They have another shot here because they can re-vacuum into this wall.
Well, the vacuum, that's going to be quite a cooldown, right? It's
10 seconds.
12 seconds, okay. That's the buyback onto Tiny.
All right, they're going to chill. They're going to get glimpsed here.
That's just a little baby glimpse, so it'll be a range Rax, and yeah, I think because the Aegis is going to be running out soon, just wait for that second Roche now. So.
It's really cool to see how popular this has got in this tournament. Like it's been considered a dead item forever, Holy Locket. And it's finally been buffed to the point where you actually buy it on heroes that have at least one heal.
Yeah, I think it's a cool item now.
Yeah.
It's got a cool mechanic.
The fact that you can now target people with it instead to give them the magic stick charges, and just the percentage increase went from 25 to 35. You get the charges faster passively when you're not in fights. There's just a lot of really good things about Locket now. You saw, especially Nigma, have really been taking advantage of this with some of their strategies where they have like 2 defensive healing supports that an IO
you're
tree
gonna have
strategy.
to hold your horses here, Cinderman, as they're gonna find the Shadow Fiend to start things out.
3 seconds
in the enemy
BKB
jungle.
cooldown, he's dead.
Kinetic Field is keeping him in, and yeah, that is a pops the BKB, going for the Requiem of Souls, gets it up, and then dies shortly after. That
Good
is
kill.
a very big kill.
He even
for
popped
Spirit.
BKB, so and
did.
Requiem, and revealed his hex.
Well, they would have
good
seen
things.
it anyway. They would have clicked on him, I'm sure.
Yeah,
during
most
this.
likely.
Okay, I mean, what do you think of the Hex this game?
It's good, right? You're playing against Morphember. You want some sort of quick setup for your own Requiem. Now he can make his own kills instead of relying on Lion to catch these heroes. It just gives you more flexibility. It's a very stable item for spellcasting Shadow Fiend to buy, especially against elusive course. So it's completely fine.
Yeah, as you can see, Schofield has that shard, so.
I mean, you definitely could have made an argument for getting something like AC and going a physical route to empower your CK, but at the same time, maybe you're putting a little bit of too many eggs into the physical basket then. You already have Timbersaw doing the pure damage, so you have something against non-BKBs. So you could have justified it, but like either way. I think it's also a comfort thing. I think Chris Luck likes playing spellcasting Shadow Fiend more than the physical one.
Mira gets the Avatos combo onto Stinger, but you see the switcheroo. That is the shard for Witch Doctor. He's going to get impaled shortly after. Might be okay. Yataro's actually just going to BKB TP out, so they're pretty scared as there's the Death Ward being used, but to little effect. Mira, they just need to cancel his blink, but they do not do so, and TP to safety.
Chris Luck blinked south. He thought that the Tiny was blinking down, so that was definitely a possible kill. I remember reading the shards when they came out. I was laughing hysterically at the Witch Doctor one. I thought it was so hilarious.
I thought it was I mean, it's really good. Yeah, it makes you invulnerable. You're hidden essentially for 2 seconds. It's like a little phase shift.
It's phase shift.
And it has like a lesser Death Ward that comes out. Pretty nice. I like that one a lot. That's one of the cooler designed shards for sure.
I think it's super fun.
Speaking of shards, I'm actually surprised Whisper doesn't have his yet. I feel like this would help them take buildings. The flamethrower.
For sure. He's got to pick that up now, right? Like you've got... Why does he not want that? He's got Kaiossange and BKB.
Here we go with the potential toss back into the tier 4s again. And the wall to fall. It's only on one, and you can see Schofield just instantly kills the illusion. So the wall essentially useless now. And this will be a free barracks in the top. Well, the backdoor protection does kick in, but that mid lane, they're just going to push that in real quick.
Yeah. They've gotten range.
And now that this tier 4 is also down, so they can get the double racks if, okay, another toss back in, but the BKB from Whisper is there. Yataro primed and ready. But at the very least, they're going to lose the range racks. I mean, they can't get megas is what I was going to say because that tier 2 still survives in the bot lane. All right, Avalanche forces out the BKB for Chris Luck, but BeastCost is going to be very happy with just getting the 2 racks without losing anything. We'll see if Spirit tries to get them on the way out.
I really like the way BeastCost played that siege because they basically prevented Team Spirit from even making a move. So what they did was, first off, K1 was sending his CK illusions. He was using them really well. He had 2 of them hitting barracks. Then he had 1 running after Darkseer and 1 running after, I think, Disruptor. And then Shadow Fiend cuts off the bottom side and threatens them with Hex. And they force spells to come out so they can just take the Rex for free.
Yeah, the glimpse, and they know that Chris Luck does not have his BKB, and that means he's done.
Oh.
80 seconds, no buyback, and Roshan is available with that very juicy Aghanim Shard, Cinderin.
Yeah. See if there's any way Team Spirit can get in position to force that fight. It's probably the best chance in the game. They need to get this Roche. If they give that up, the game's just over, right? Like, you're not coming back. They're going to go straight down the lane, get Megas with a Skadi on CK and a free shard for either Whisper or probably Whisper. If he's not going to buy it, you're definitely giving him the free one.
Yeah, K1 is the one that has it queued up for himself. This is the shard that creates an illusion whenever you stun somebody, essentially, which, you know, now that he's pretty large, once he has the Skadi, it's going to be pretty freaking powerful. And the Shadow Pain one's weird. Isn't that just the magic, magic amp? It's like a super basic,
it's
one of the more boring shards in the game, 14%.
Yeah. It's very good for certain
I mean,
lineups
I'd give it
in
to
this
Whisper
game.
if he's not buying it. I think that's the best one
I
left
think
over.
so. I think so too. The Lion one's cute, but
I mean, Lion has it as well.
yeah, he
so.
bought it, right? Yeah. Oh yeah, you can see it there. Yeah, I'm sorry, my eyes are not what they used to. Actually, they are. They've always been terrible, so they're just as bad as always.
Thank you, Cinder. Cholera.
You're
Did
welcome.
you have cholera as a child?
I did not. Fortunately,
Radiant
That's good.
I would not wish that on anyone.
Absolutely not.
And if they had to choose between that and Pest, I would not know what to choose.
Oh, God. Turn anything into a meme, it seems. Whisper in the pit now. And like you said, this is going to be the make-or-break moment for Spirit in this game 1. They have to contest this. I just cannot see a way for them to win this game if they give this up. It's already at half HP.
Yeah, it's just very quick.
And like we said, they have a little bit of minus armor to work with. Now that Chris Luck is in the pit as well. You can see Spirit are trying to group up a little bit, but no, this will not be contested. So it's an Aegis, it's a Cheese, it's a Shard. And they did give it to Timbersaw here. So the Flamethrower, just essentially anything he's looking at takes damage over time when he pops it, which includes buildings. And trees. He hates trees. That's part of the lore.
Yep.
But this is actually, I mean, again, this is one of those, when it came out, nobody really knew how good it would be. It is very good for sieging, especially for a hero that, like, he's good at sieging in a different way because he tanks the creeps, and the creeps end up doing the damage for him, but now he can do the damage as well.
And it's also good in fights, like having an additional damage source for 100 mana on a hero that generally doesn't have mana issues in a lot of situations. It's just... all of these shards, like, generally, I would say, on average, I think the better shards are the ones that give you a new spell. This is just having added functionality on your hero is
Well, you don't like
pretty crazy.
the anti-mage, you get longer blink?
I mean...
it does, I think. It lowers the cooldown and increases the range of blink. It's gotta be the most boring one, along with Shadow.
Some of the modifying ones are also... it's not like they're not good ever, but if you think about it, like... again, it's just an average. It's a gut feel thing where...
yeah.
It just
All right,
feels
23K
nice.
net worth there. Okay, this is the time. Static Storm Vacuum combo. That's the Aegis already for the Shadow Fiend. He's going to have his BKB up, and they actually blow up the Timbersaw as well. That is really surprising. Chris Luck trying to TP out with that BKB activated. He will do so successfully. They lost a CK as well. An amazing fight for Spirit, despite not having the Aegis.
That is the biggest possible item reveal.
And they cancel the TP on Schofield, so that's going to be a freebie for them as well. Now what damage can they do?
That was all this item on Disruptor right there. I was like, how did Timber not survive? So Aghanim Scepter reveal. BeastCost obviously were not expecting this. They got I think they got all 3 cores in it, so immediately lost the Aegis, and obviously Timber couldn't use his BKB or Cheese. So now BeastCost needs to be a little bit careful that they don't get into these kinds of fights again, because this is literally the one item that could save Spirit. We didn't really talk about this possibility, but Disruptor can always do this with Darkseer when he reaches this particular item. And Spirit really just, they waited for that one timing. But now they're not going to get that surprise factor again. They got this one time, so...
it's still pretty hard to counter, though. I mean, Static Storm, essentially what it does, it just changes it to mute items, which is probably, I want to say, the most... like, it's just that and Doom, I think, in the game now, right?
Yeah.
Nullifier doesn't do it anymore, so there's literally only 2 things in the entire game that mute items.
Yeah.
Other than, like, Mask of Madness for yourself, I guess.
That doesn't mute items,
well,
it silences you, right?
It silences your... it doesn't? Oh, no, maybe I'm thinking of Hex then. But that's... I mean, you're
Right,
basically
when you're
stunned,
yeah.
but it doesn't really...
Yeah.
It's not exactly the same.
Yeah, I would say, what are the counters? The counters is don't stack up 3 cores like that again, right? Because you weren't aware of the risk that this could happen, and next time you're probably just going to only have CK hit the tower or only have Shadow Fiend hit the tower. I think the risk here is, even if you have CK hit the tower, if he gets tossed back into a Static Storm, I don't know if you can save him. You have no saves, you have nobody who's like very good at reconnecting if somebody gets tossed into the base. So you might have to... maybe... do you wait for 3rd Aegis?
I mean, this is...
or...
the Aeon Disc is a great... I mean, it doesn't do anything against Aeon Disc, so you need like a Nullifier to counter, something like that.
I mean, Disc is definitely good, but if the execution is good enough and they have the burst, I think you die after the Disc anyway. Disruptor Ags lasts pretty long, the ults. So, I believe it's still, what is it, it's 7 seconds, right? So Disc is 2.5. So that means as long as you get them below the Disc range quickly, and you can contain them in the field, then they're still going to die even with a Disc.
Okay. So would you not build that? Would you go for something that just makes you tankier in stats?
I still think it's good because it makes it more challenging for the enemy team, and it also does give you some health, and it helps you against everything else too, right? It's not only the Disruptor that's in the game, but
All right, I mean, it's still a 15K net worth lead for BeastCost, but Team Spirit is showing a little bit of life now. And of course, when it gets to late game, I mean, on paper, late game favors Spirit in terms of their carries, I feel like. Morphling is ridiculous. Ember Spirit can get Redonkulous as well.
It's definitely doable.
CK kind of falls off a lot of games. Shadow Fiend as well, especially with the magic build. So there's definitely an opening here. As we've seen Eon Disc now on CK as well. So they're going for, and Timbersaw, so that's 3.
Luck is walking around with bottle over boots. I feel like that's a very weird choice when there's no rune.
Very normal. He's expecting the DD rune soon. He can feel it. It's more like, it's one of those things where if you have the bottle ready, then there's a better chance the DD will spawn. It's like a superstitious thing. Toronto Tokyo gonna get caught out. The Eon Disc does proc for now. K1 BKB. Now the Static Storm is already used, so that is the big win condition for Spirit now gone. And with that, Chris Luck is just going to jump in, disintegrate the Tiny. He's going to buy back into the game now. BKB pop by Yataro, trying to right-click Chris Luck. Looks like they'll be successful in doing so, but Morphling getting bursted in the meantime. Waveforms away to safety. Looks like he'll survive this onslaught. Gets brought back in, though, by the CK, and finally goes down. That's another buyback. One on Lion as well. See if he can get here in time. And with this, I think BeastCost might need to reset because they've lost their Shadow Fiend, and they've blown basically all their spells. Glimpse back onto the CK. He's in quite a bit of trouble inside that kinetic field right now. The Aeon Disc does pop. Toronto Tokyo, he's going to take the Chaos Bolt to the face, and that is a death for him. 90 seconds, no buyback. Whisper with the flames coming out of his mouth. Mira, this will be a dieback on him. He goes down as well, but Yataro still continue to do these right-click damage. BKB still online for Whisper. He's going to pop that cheese as well. Now Yataro should be able to get back to base, and well, this is getting interesting, Cinderin. I mean, the Static Storm, that's the big reason why Spirit weren't able to just completely demolish them, I feel like.
If you Static Storm the CK there, you have to keep him in the field. If the moment he escapes and presses BKB, I just write them off there. I just feel like that follow-up fight, you can't realistically win it, and they don't. They stay alive because of these 2 buybacks. Really big one to expend, especially the Morphling one. The tiny one, not so much, but Morph buyback is crucial. He was just starting to reach a point where he could really rival the enemy cores, but now he had to dig deep to even stay in the game, and this Crystallis is now far, far away. And you see in the fight, he's just lacking damage. Like, he's not able to kill the Shadow Fiend in 10 seconds of attacking. Usually you will see Morphlings just start to roll over.
We can see the shard going to work, creating the extra illusion. Nice impaled from the backside, and they're going to burst down the Tiny. That's a dieback, and Morphling no buyback as well. So a nice combination there from BeastCost, and that should do it for game 1. This, at the very least, will be Mega Creeps. I have a hard time believing that Spirit can hold this off any longer, despite having these big spells online still. Don't really have any damage dealers, although Ember is coming back, so it's going to be a 4v5.
That's a 3v5. That's all they can hope for.
This is 3v5,
it's the 2 diebacks.
NA math, yeah.
The exact 2 heroes that just died and bought back died again. And it's all that great offensive ward that BeastCost had placed that allowed them to get that initiation. And they should be able to clean this up. Okay.
Right, Impale just...
I'm not sure which one missed more. That one or the Chrono yesterday from Ame.
I mean, the Chrono was wayward. That's a long cooldown.
I think he self-targeted that one by mistake. Okay, here we go.
Schofield with that shard again. Can't be targeted now thanks to the magic immunity, but it's going to get vacuumed in. Pops the Essence Ring. And they're just going to let the creeps kind of do their work here. They're trying to buy as much time for this Morphling. Another minute to go and 30 on the Tiny. But there, Static Storm again, muting the items for Shadow Fiend, but they don't really have that much damage to follow it up by. Aeon Disc does proc. Miposhka finds his way to the grave, and now Toronto Tokyo looks to be next as GGs are called. I mean, a longer game than we were expecting, in all honesty, but BeastCost, they get the result they want.
I definitely think that's worth keeping in mind, right? Like, Spirit were so extremely far behind the whole game from minute 5 that the fact that they pulled that to 40 minutes is a good sign for them going into game 2 if they just don't get mega outpicked and outplayed in lanes. I do think...
So you think it was more... obviously the laning stage did not go well. Do you think that was because of the picks, or is it a combination?
I think a big part of it was strategy. Shadow Fiend has a favorite matchup. I think the Timberline is also favored, so they...
I was thinking maybe like a Skyrat Mage, which has risen in popularity, which is also great against Wyvern. He lays down a heal, ton of damage coming onto it, but pretty much the same concept as a Snapfire with either Scatter Blast or the ultimate. So.
And also these supports in Spirit, they will be ripped to shreds if they ever get kind of hit by the Morning of Kisses. Yeah, I think BeastCoast is really just subscribing to the idea of just fight and early game dominance. Like they're gonna just want to look to run at you non-stop, and it's on Team Spirit. They have to have a better laning phase this time. They can't go even or lose their lanes. Like they need to actually be able to muster something, because with these picks right now, they're not winning any lanes. Like they're just kind of just gonna exist, and that just bodes well for BeastCoast because they have aggression in all 3 of their initial picks so far.
Yeah, BeastCoast really just wants to run back that first game.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think it was BSJ who looked at the lineup that BeastCoast had put together when we were actually backstage watching. He's like, where was this earlier? Like, where was this earlier for BeastCoast? It feels like they're playing BeastCoast DOTA again. Carl makes it through.
No, this pick here, it's kind of like we just described aggression. Invoker, Quaswex with the Tornado EMP. It is one of the masters of counter aggression, because you're just playing to remove their mana pool, and then it's like, well, you can't fight us now, right? And
This is the 3rd spell that they can reset with.
yes, exactly.
They have Tornado on top of it. I believe BeastCoast will need to ban out Faceless Void, a ton of damage, ton of setup for a Chronosphere, and also wait to reset. They will have a lot of damage once Aghanim Scepter on Invoker is a natural choice. Doesn't come online early, but around that like 25-30 minute mark, depends what you built before.
But
So
they need a big farmer now, right? Like if they have 3 components of reset and a really tanky front line of DK, there's no real damage here, right? Like it's a lot of kind of rebuttal, but nothing that stops BeastCoast from actually feeling like they're gonna die. Unless BeastCoast are underneath towers dying to that alone, there isn't really kind of this rotation potential Spirit where they're going to suddenly start ganking you. And that's why I feel like they do need to just get a big creep hitter, run these 4 heroes in front, and just buy time, and then play for like a later portion of the game.
Do you agree with that, Lacoste?
Did I hear that? Or do I like that?
I said, did you agree with it?
Yeah, completely.
10
So
seconds remaining.
Void Spirit will allow BeastCoast to be more aggressive early on, and now they're looking into a carry. What do they need? They still don't know carry to carry matchup, but against these heroes, yeah, they ban Faceless Void as we mentioned. Maybe possibly Team Spirit needs to get rid of Ursa. I wouldn't mind.
Do you think like a Medusa for Team Spirit would be good as well? Like one of the
sure, you have a buff. Like you can heal her up. You will have Alacrity later on. These heroes are really not good against Medusa. They ban Abba.
The respect to BeastCoast there. You don't want to have the K1 Abba running
Yeah,
at
if
you.
this is not BeastCoast, you would ask yourself, why did they ban position 5?
Yeah, what are they doing?
K1
They need a carry.
really loves to play the hero.
And it worked actually wonders here, because BeastCoast, they just need one more component of aggression like that CK in the first game. And that's where Team Spirit, they need to, like, the execution required for Team Spirit to win this game is so high, because it's about perfectly deciding when to use your spells to then break down the resources of BeastCoast to then be able to find farm and fight later. Like, they're never really using their spells and winning and crushing that fight.
It's a good Lifestealer game and a Phantom Lancer game for Team Spirit, where they don't have any AoE. Okay, they banned PL, so could be maybe a Lifestealer pick there for Team Spirit, where you can get outside of the arena. The only BKB piercing ability is Viper Strike. You don't care too much about it. It slows you down, but there are heals. There are ways to reset the fight, so you should be okay. There's no like real burst damage coming out from the BeastCoast.
Yeah, the benefit here is Team Spirit does have ultimate last pick, so our concerns about what type of carry they need will be somewhat easier to pick, because they're going to know what BeastCoast is playing. They ban out the Terror Blade themselves, so then now BeastCoast, they need their aggressive style of carry.
Maybe another backline jumper with Spectre. I believe Spectre is available, where you play with Void Spirit, killed Wyvern, get on top of Dark Willow, force her to use her defensive abilities on you.
It's probably a little bit uncharacteristic, but even just like a carry Leshrac here would also be fine. Oh, they go for the Spectre, sure. Yeah, this rips apart Wyvern and Dark Willow.
And now you need to start thinking about like what's a good matchup against Spectre, carry to carry matchup. Ursa is okay-ish. I think Ursa is fine, but I mentioned Lifestealer is actually a better choice. Lifestealer carry to carry matchup does nicely against Spectre.
This could be like, maybe. I don't want to say it because I hate the hero. Okay, they go Lifestealer. Nice. That's fine. I won't have to say the hero I hate, but
Rich is like, how's this guy so good?
It's like, man, that Lacoste is just so smart. You called everything. You really did. But now I'm going to make you call the entire series. How do you think this one is going to go? How's this game actually play out now that we have all the chips in front of us?
I'm going to go with BeastCoast again because I think the Viper is going to have a pretty chill time just annoying everyone, and the overall aggression towards the supports, they're not going to really have a great game. Like, sure, Lifestealer can survive through all this, but the supports won't. So I think BeastCoast will just eventually get to a great point again.
I mean,
I want to see
also,
what the build on Invoker is going to be. I want to see this more, what Miracle did, this early type of a build with 2 circlets, 2 mantles early on, and then you transition that into 2 nulls, possibly get a drums, go back into into Midas, and then get the Aghanim Scepter. Because Lifestealer, he also needs some time to be built up. So fight with the team, Dragonite, if he's not going to have a good time, which he should, like he against Spectre and, what is he playing, Viper? I mean, Viper does well.
Viper does well in
Viper
all
does
these
well.
lanes. So
I, to be honest, I kind of like both of these drafts. Like, I usually don't say that, but both drafts seem really good to me.
yeah, I think it is one of those things, though, with Spirit, where you look at this lineup and you have to keep in mind that they just got a very, very tough loss handed to them. It doesn't seem like the easiest lineup to be running back in with. That's the one thing that's kind of in my mind right now, but the thing that you need to keep in your mind right now before we jump into this is the fact that this just comes down to 2 of the teams that are in the bottom 3. We only have room for one of those teams to move forward into the actual playoff bracket. A win for either of these squads gets them further away from the chopping block. Which team is going to take that W? We find out right now.
A must-win, I would say, for both teams. I believe that we're casting the next series as well, which, if memory serves, is Spirit versus the old Liquid. So that one's going to be actually pretty hype as well, because every game now is a must-win for a lot of these teams that are in the bottom 3-4.
Yeah, I think in terms of the literal meaning of the word, I actually do think Liquid have to win every single game. I think with this last game win for BeastCoast, they can technically draw here and then get a tiebreaker by 2-0ing Liquid. But you don't want to put yourself in the position where you have to win every game. It's super stressful. There's 0 room for mistakes. And it's also likely to put you in a mental space when you're drafting where it's very easy to have regrets, right? So a lot of the times you'll maybe not be willing to take a risk that could really
snap
fail.
into the Dragon Tail, and it looks like this is going to be First Blood going the... Wait a second. Okay, I stand corrected. My mistake there, Chris Luck. You're very tanky, young man.
I think he got a 4-man Resonant Pulse. I'm not sure how much damage that blocks, but I'm going to say about 200. So that's 40 plus 30 per target, so 160.
Wow.
So that's a lot, right?
That's pretty good maths right there, Mr. Cinderman.
Yes.
All right, well, they avoid that.
I am very well educated.
Thank you. Oh, by the way, for those that were wondering, pick your poison was the best suggestion.
Yes, very good
thing
suggestion.
you came up with.
And it's weird that it didn't come to mind for me because I love that saying and use it myself. But yeah, sometimes you just can't find the words.
It's okay. You only talk for a living.
Yeah, it's when you get older, finding words gets harder over time.
That's true. The dementia does kick in. I can attest to that for sure.
I sometimes even forget which way to walk here.
That we can talk about that another time. That's actually embarrassing. Stinger.
I think it's
pop
funny.
A fairy fire. Now the salve to follow. Collapse is going to cancel and then run back.
That's a real feels-good moment for a...
Ooh, Bramble now. Stinger.
He's going to die.
He's going to get the Vici. He misses uphill, though. Mira, super unlucky. Still, damage is kind of... I mean, that's First Blood, obviously. That's a pretty big deal. That's going to make up for the salve and the fairy fire, essentially.
I thought that was going to be a trade, right? Because it looked like Viper was going to get the kill afterwards with Poison Attack, but man, not even trading there. That stinks for Mira, for sure. I was going to say, Dragon Knight, it feels really good to bully away the Viper like that early on so you get to lane this 1v1 against Spectre, or even 2v1 now, right? But damn.
Yeah, the Dragon Tail into the Bramble. I mean, they have some decent setup for... I mean, what do you think of offlane DK? We've seen it, you know, off and on now for the last year, I want to say. We've even seen it as support in this tournament and in the DPC as well. Where do you think he's at right now?
I still primarily like the hero as a core. I think 2 and 3 are both fine, depending on lane matchups. One of Dragon Knight's biggest strengths is actually playing lanes where he's outnumbered, similar to Timbersaw, as long as it's the right kind of matchup. So a great example of a matchup that Dragon Knight thrives in is against safe lane Wraith King, where Wraith King's damage largely comes from the skeletons, but you have the armor and the minus damage from your Breathe Fire. So Dragon Knight can be left alone by his support as soon as he's level 3, and he can just sit there and farm. In this case, against Viper Spectre, I also think he's going to be fine. Viper's dropping dangerously low again, by the way, actually going to die to Mira as well as Collapse, and Mira will live this time. So a little bit of fairness in the world.
I mean, let's talk about the Viper, because Viper obviously picked, we've seen the Stinger support Viper before. It was actually pretty effective, as Whisper's going to get chased down here from Yataro, but Spear is there to create a little bit extra space for him. But obviously Nether Toxin against Dragon Knight just decimates this here, just makes him not tanky at all.
They don't have any stun to lock him in the poison, but they do have both poison attack and the Spectral Dagger.
Yeah, very true. We see the Dragon Tail again with the Curse Crown and the Bramble. So now that Mira is level 2, you can see how potent this lane can be. But the Spectral Dagger comes out, trying to maneuver himself around the roots here. Collapse as he pops that health salve. Not able to get any more distance there.
They still brought Spectre down to 100 health. He has to either go back to base or get salved by the Viper, which will happen. But his mana also being low, I think they're just going to go on him again. Magic Wand is okay-ish in this lane. It's not like an amazing lane for it. Dragon Knight's going to cast 1 spell, and the Willow's going to cast 2. You're not getting like free charges like you're playing against Bat.
Oh my!
Okay.
All right, Yataro gets caught out. Yeah, doesn't have Rage, which, I mean, typically you'll see a 1-1-1 build on that hero. Just
for safety a lot of the time, yeah.
You just need that casual level of Rage to be able to get out of harm's way. But
I think his mindset is, I'm playing against Mars' Lifestealer. I want to win my lane. I want to bully together with Wyvern, but you obviously leave yourself susceptible. And Mars Snap, when Snap reaches level 2 and especially level 3, the damage output is just crazy. You do so much damage with Shredder into Rebuke, and Lifestealer doesn't have the best base armor, so he is definitely a killable target. I think his base armor might be better than it used to be, but it's still not like one of the best compared to like Agi carries. So
yeah, Yataro with 2 in Ghoul Frenzy, so would expect level 4 to get that point in Rage.
Right. Yeah, I'm not sure about skilling Frenzy on 2. Like, sometimes you would see Feast just for the extra value, but maxing out Ghoul Frenzy, I feel like a lot of times kind of ends up griefing yourself a little bit.
He does have Orb of Venom, so obviously was looking to perhaps pressure. I'm not sure he's actually going to turn that into an Orb of Corrosion at any point, but
I don't think the Frenzy is more damage, though. That's the thing. Like, you get 10 attack speed versus, how much is the percentage on Feast? Is it 0.4?
It's pretty low.
It's 0.6
at level
0.2
1.
damage, right?
You mean 0.2 increments after that?
No, the max health damage goes up 0.2.
Oh, right.
So you're trading that versus 10 attack speed, but the lifesteal is obviously really good. It scales very, very well.
Yeah, see the
pretty close.
The Arctic Burn there. Schofield trying to TP out. Looks like he will be successful, just barely. In the meanwhile, top lane, we're seeing the same combo over and over and over again. Curse Crown. Collapse
this time.
Absolutely. The Breathe Fire nets him the kill. So Spectre, I mean, we've seen kind of both versions of Spectre in this tournament, where he gets off to a really good start and it feels like you just can't lose, and then got to play the catch-up game, which, you know, it's a Spectre. But if you can hold on long enough, Spectre just outcarries, it feels like, basically every hero in the game.
I think one of Spectre's biggest strengths over other carries is its ability to lock down supports, right? You've seen in the recent patches and in this tournament in general, supports are having more and more gold and more impact. But Spectre is one of those heroes that can largely nullify even farmed supports later in the game, because you have that guaranteed gap close.
Man, so much setup for this Bramble. This is nice. Toronto Tokyo sets it up with the Tornado that time. We didn't really talk about that, but obviously the Resonant Pulse gets taken off by the Tornado, so
it's a good matchup for Invoker.
Quaswex, yeah, looking good so far for these 2 lanes, top and middle, in terms of Spirit. But BeastCoast, bottom lane seems to be the lane that they're doing. I mean, Lifestealer is still farming okay, I guess, but that definitely set him a bit back.
He's doing worse than Spectre on the CS by quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, Spectre's doing fine.
Yeah.
Despite dying.
He had the death. I'm not sure how many salves he's had to buy. I don't even know if he did it at all. I think Stinger might have just gimped himself completely and just bought every regen bid, which isn't a bad idea. I think 5 Viper, its primary purpose in the game is to be a bully in the lane and then have the ult later.
Right.
You're generally not going to have enough farm to get items that truly make you powerful, like let's say an Atos or tank items. So you're looking to get cost-efficient items and win lane. And, well, they have managed to draw the lane, I guess, which is okay. And there is a great target for Viper Strike in the Lifestealer.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you can see bottom lane, Schofield was trying to get aggressive, but this is 1 versus 2 right now. Yataro continuing to right-click with that Ghoul Frenzy, but here comes Whisper to help out. The
nice
Cold
hold.
Embrace help dodge a little bit of damage there. And now Miposhka on the run. Yataro still looking to finish off Schofield, and it's going to take 3 right clicks, so the Fairy Fire will add another one. Yep, more damage coming out, but Yataro does find it in the end. Another spear does connect, though, and Whisper timing that rage quite well.
That was still very well played by Miposhka there. That was perfect timing on Cold Embrace. Blocked the full damage of Rebuke. And of course the heal allows Lifestealer to fight again. But the overall trade favoring BeastCost, they get Core for support. And Lifestealer remains behind Spectre by currently 300 net worth. And that matchup in itself, it's had like, over the years, it's actually been one of the more interesting carry matchups because depending on which version of Lifestealer we're talking about, this is one of the heroes that could really kill a tanky Spectre in the past. I think nowadays with the ramp up speed and what itemization Spectres go for and the fact that Lifestealer doesn't have open wounds anymore unless you opt for the 1400 gold shard investment, I do feel like a Spectre with items, if these heroes have similar net worth 25-30 minutes in, I would like to be on the Spectre side of things.
Yeah, I would agree.
As soon as Rage runs out, your damage is just overwhelming.
And Collapse is going to get this tier 1 tower. Schofield kind of stuck here, gets the cookie, but into the Bramble. They don't quite have vision yet, but Collapse now finds it. The Dragon Tail to follow, Curse Crown in addition, and I believe Schofield should drop here. Although the damage is kind of low, as we're going to see Toronto Tokyo getting killed. This is the 2nd kill on Whisper, so Toronto Tokyo very active right now. And you heard the panel talking about how they would like to see the urn into Midas, or maybe just Spirit Vessel into Midas, which we saw from Miracle, I believe, yesterday or the day before.
Yep. I think it's a solid choice. You're playing with Lifestealer. It's a very AFK carry. It's one of the most AFK carries you're going to get in the first 15 minutes. So ideally, when you pair this with a mid hero, you want the mid hero to compensate for the hero's weakness. And Invoker is one of the most active, hyper-aggressive mid heroes you can get when you play Quaswex. And going for the Vessel will allow him to easier find the kills on these tankier heroes like the Mars and the Spectre, and also negate the never mind, the Wyvern's on his own team. So there's not too much to negate there. Yep, we're getting old here.
I mean, you brought up the Lifestealer open wounds. I mean, it's been buffed quite a bit. The range is really good now if you get that shard eventually. And the fact that I believe you get max HP damage per hit while it's active, which against a really tanky target like Spectre is really good. But the problem is very easy to dispel, especially when you have a Manta or if somebody else has a Lotus Orb, which obviously the Manta would be on the Spectre in this case. Seeing more, Dissimulate. Out to safety.
Actually didn't get the Brambles in time, so he couldn't land the Terrorize chain.
Yep, well, Whisper's going to take a Curse Crown as the Shadow Realm was used to try to avoid some damage. And
Bit surprised they didn't just kill him there with Arena. I think the Ame, maybe?
Not sure, but Cookie will connect through that Shadow Realm. But look at that ultimate coming out from the Dark Willow doing quite a bit of damage, but it's going to end up being a trade for the Viper as well. And you can see the Snapfire ult coming into play with the Winter's Curse, though. There's the Infest giving that extra HP boost for Collapse. Now they're going to turn the table and get an additional kill in favor of Team Spirit.
I don't find myself saying this very often, but I think that was pretty poor spellcasting from Schofield. I think he missed 3 of the globs on Dragon Knight, 2 of which he was in Cold Embrace. So those just need to land. I think they could have got that kill.
Of Dragon Tail, they might be able to set another kill up here onto Schofield. And with that Cold Snap, easy enough.
Might be a counterplay.
Yeah, he's TP'd in, but look at how many members of Team Spirit are here. The Bramble's going to connect with the Curse Crown to follow. But here comes the burst damage was there for Chris Luck, but he didn't want to commit quite yet. And we haven't really seen, I think we've seen 1 Mars Arena only this game.
Yeah.
Still on cooldown right now.
BeastCost had to bring all the defenses in there, though. They're not ready to lose this mid tower minute 11. And they definitely didn't have to either. You're playing against a lineup that the only thing that really pushes hard is Dragon Knight's Dragon Form. So as long as you bully that guy away, you're going to hold that tower. And yeah, nice move from Spirit, though. They get themselves a 1k gold lead. Obviously a much, much different start than the first game. And like I said, based on that game and how Spirit has been...
Oh, wow. Spectre dies in the jungle to a neutral creep.
Okay.
Well, at least nobody got XP for that one, but yeah. I mean, we've seen them kind of edge the line a bit with the Blade Mail, but that's obviously quite bad.
Yeah.
A little too close, perhaps.
I guess the good news is that the camp got cleared. So there isn't like the Radiant aren't going to just walk over and steal something. Viper just killed the last dragon, but getting that time on the sideline for Spectre, definitely not Definitely not ideal.
Yeah, Spirit Vessel almost done on Toronto Tokyo. There's the initiation. That is the blink reveal. Terror Wave to follow. And that is going to be an easy kill onto the Mars. And they should be able to turn this into a tier 1 tower as well. And Chrisluck has some... Oh my god, the Shadow Realm actually just deletes him when he was on low HP. And Collapse, you're talking about these globs from Schofield. None of them really hit there again. And you can see the buff onto Collapse right now. Schofield looks to be next on the target list, and K1 is here. The question is, does he want to be? They'll find the Snapfire. Looks like that'll be another kill going the way of Team Spirit. A 4 for nothing. And now the Winter's Curse. They're going to set this up with all the utility of that Dark Willow. And wrong place at the wrong time. And that is a double kill for Collapse and a full team wipe for Spirit.
Yeah. I was going to say, based on the first game, I said it after that game, right, that if Spirit don't get rolled in lanes, I feel like they definitely have it in them to win the second game. I think on average, they've been looking better than BeastCost. And in this game, now that the playing field was kind of fair 10 minutes in, they definitely just destroyed them in that engagement. And they're starting to build a good advantage for themselves. Their lineup is not the best at killing Roshan, so that's the good news for BeastCost, is that they don't have to worry about that too much. But at the same time, losing that mid tower and the top tower now without claiming any of their own, the map is going to start shrinking.
Double Midas coming. I was not expecting the Midas onto the Lifestealer. So opts to not get that armlet yet, so it's going to be a little bit of a slower build-up. But, I mean, they have the lead already, so I guess why not? And we're going to have an Infest Bomb. Yep, Collapse jumps in, gets the Dragon Tail off. Spear does connect onto Collapse, but the right-click damage, along with Mira being on the high ground, is going to net them yet another kill. So very active on the map, Team Spirit. I mean, that's, I guess, I mean, the Lifestealer Bomb is the one hero you can basically count on, is the Dragon Knight with that Blink Dagger now.
It can be cute with a Ghost Walk, but
sure.
Yeah.
It's a little iffy, but Collapse. Dragon form is up. Stinger, oh boy. He's going to be spotted out by Toronto Tokyo. The Tornado will be there along with the EMP. And look at the damage from that Dark Willow. Just decimates. Of course, it is a support Viper, but still feels good to take out that toxic pile of garbage. Is Collapse, not the player, of course, the hero, just to be clear. As we have a Cookie in the fog, but looks like they'll collapse upon him, and that'll be yet another one. So Team Spirit absolutely dominating right now. I mean, wasn't it 18-4 last game the other way around? I believe that is correct.
It was probably something similar, at least.
Man. I mean, the network lead was higher, though.
Way bigger lead. This doesn't feel out of reach for BeastCost whatsoever. They do have a Spectre lineup. They, I think overall, though, I was expecting more success to come out of Chris Luck this game. He is way ahead of the Invoker in net worth, but just haven't really felt the impact. He hasn't even got an assist yet. Void Spirit, one of those heroes that's really great at finding early opportunities when he has levels, but has really just been focusing primarily on farming.
What do you think of the Sange Kaya on him as first item overall? Typically we'll see Yules into Ags or something like that.
Yules feels really bad against Willow because you're going to be you're going to want to use it against Invoker if he combos really well, or against try to dodge Dragon Knight stun or whatever. But if you Yules in this game, you set up for so much follow-up.
Mira is doing so much work this game.
Nice Cookie,
I have
though.
To say.
I think he's going to live.
Now, the Bedlam doing a lot of damage. Toronto Tokyo here as well, just to get the extra charge on that
I thought he was going to live. He was going to live against the one guy.
Yeah, he definitely lived all right.
Yep, he's alive.
Tornado, EMP will not connect this time, but there's the haunt from K1. They want to fight. There's going to be a buyback out of the Snapfire. Collapse in that Cold Embrace. Yutaro jumps out trying to right-click, but that is a Cold Embrace, but that is a cursed target. As they're just going to back up now. They've lost the Dragon Knight. Of course, it did cost a buyback for BeastCost, but looking at the net worth, they're creeping back in here. It's not too big of a disadvantage. I mean, the score is a bit misleading, I feel like.
It is for sure. You also factor in that there's an unclaimed tower for BeastCost as well. They're a tower behind, so that's also part of the net worth. So it's like unrealized potential that is still there on the map.
K1. No mana yet again. We'll have to scurry back to perhaps the fountain here.
I do worry a little bit for Spirit once items start really rolling out, right? Like, how does your lineup win fights when there's a BKB on Mars, when Void Spirit gets maybe an Ags or another secondary item, and when Spectre gets Manta? a lot of their...
Oh, Miposhka getting bursted down, and the spear will actually just kill him inside that cold embrace. Terrorize is there. The Mars Arena trying to be used to zone as Chrysluk has to astral step out to safety. But in the meantime, look at the damage being applied to the rest of Team Spirit as they try to run away. Yataro, he's perfectly healthy though. He'll continue to right click with the Aether Remnant. Gonna be dodged by that Rage. It looks like everybody will get out.
Close call for 2 of Spirit's heroes there.
I mean, look at their lead. It's dwindling. 1K net worth lead now. Double bounties though. That'll change a bit, I guess.
They hit this big momentum where they took that huge fight, but since then, BeastCost have done a better job at bringing more heroes to the fight and being ready and playing around Haunt.
Has been killed.
And that is once again something that Team Spirit will have to struggle with the whole game, is their supports are very susceptible when they get spotted. Even Dark Willow, if she uses her Shadow Realm, can die to multiple AoE spells that are here. There's the Mars Spear plus Void Spirit combo, there's the Snapfire ulti, the Nether Toxin. All of these spells add up over time in these fights, so you have to be really, really careful with support positioning anytime you play against Spectre, but it's just so much worse when the enemy team has multiple heroes that can get on top. And both Void Spirit and the Snap ult have really, really long reach.
Yeah, K1 about to get his first ultimate orb, which usually we don't talk about as a as a big item, but considering how the game has kind of started for him, doing better than I expected after that laning stage.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
But the Lifestealer is still the one that's dominating the map right now. He is 1K ahead of everybody. Of course, that Midas is just going to continue to pay off. We saw the Midas officially picked up as well by Toronto Tokyo, so I mean, it's kind of dead gold for a bit, right? Like, it ramps up over time, and the attack speed's always nice for both heroes, especially once you start getting more into the Exort for the Invoker.
Yeah.
As here's a smoke from Team Spirit. Yataro holding on to that Infest, does not want to go with the Infest bomb here. Never mind. He's now inside Collapse, so the burst damage will be available. They're going to find Whisper. Oh, Cold Snap to well, it started out, and I believe the Dragon Tail will follow. And yeah, the Infest, way too much damage to speak of. And that is a good pick-off from Team Spirit.
It is, but also 5-hero rotation to get no structural damage, right? So I actually don't.
Sure.
I don't think they won on that, especially not if they get counter kills.
Yeah,
oh,
Mike,
boy.
look at that burst damage. That's already a dead Wyvern to start things out here. Collapse was trying to pressure a little bit onto Chrysluk as the Sunstrike does connect, but obviously not the highest level at this point in time. Actually goes backwards with that Dissimulate, but that's just going to set up a Dragon Tail. That is an easy one for Yataro to clean up.
I think that was a good attempt. His escape options were pretty limited. The obvious path is to go up the hill into this camp that Lifesteal's in right now. But considering that all of Spirit's heroes were running that way and he didn't have the Remnant ready, or the Astral Step ready yet, he tried to go for it flat out just a juke on expectations, but they were quick on DK. And got the kill.
Collapse. All right, we're going to see the Haunt with the Mars Arena into the Snapfire ult. And that is a lot of damage. When they can combo that together, that is a dead Dragon Knight.
They kill literally any hero from the Radiant if they land that combo. And the only one who can protect themselves is Lifestealer. Even Cold Embrace, you still die. There's Desolate, Snap ult, Nether Toxin, Mars spells. It's too much.
Yep, Spear will connect here, but the Tier 1 tower is still in this mid lane very healthy for Team Spirit. And they'll continue to hold on to it as a result. Toronto Tokyo scouting things out here. Not sure if they want to set anything up as of yet because there is no Dragon Knight. That's kind of their front liner right now, their initiator as it were. But Yataro will be going for the full Sange Yasha, so not valuing. I mean, Halbert's kind of meh. It's a
it's not good here.
Spectre, it's and then obviously Viper is not a core hero this game, so
definitely not a good Halbert game.
Well, it looks like Roshan will be the target. I mean, BeastCost has used a lot of those big ults to blow up that blow up the Dragon Knight, so this might be a freebie.
I'm not sure if they're unaware or if they're just conceding it flat out. Because I feel like the type of heroes that they have can kind of poke the pit. You can throw in a Toxin, you can throw Nether Remnants. Void Spirit can actually be a bit elusive and maybe play around it, but they're going to give it up either way. It's going to go, I would imagine, yes, it goes on the Invoker. Good choice.
Yeah, not the fastest Roche, but they get it eventually. And what's the next item for Toronto Tokyo? Does he go for an Aghanim Scepter now that these, I mean, he can get that triple meatball.
It is
with the Shard or the Cataclysm.
It is really good with Dragon Knight to have Cataclysm, in my opinion. It's one of the strongest single-target stuns in the game. There's one counter in the Dire, which is the Cookie. But unless the Snapfire is in range, you have more or less an instant kill. Oh, actually, they do have a Force Staff on Viper. That is true, so that will help a little bit. I don't know. It's not like your amazing setups where you have like a Mars Arena or a Chrono, where you just own with it. I guess if you have really good timing, you could also do it with Curse. Any 2-hero Curse into Cataclysm can be nice.
So Tokyo finds Schofield here with that cold snap and the alacrity on top of it. He's just gonna 1v1 battle him. Although the Cookie onto the other side, Sunstrike's not gonna connect. Eventually he'll get right-click down, you would think. Maybe do a Satyr there if he's lucky. Trying to reposition himself. Cookie's not up for another 8 seconds, so ends up just being a kill for Toronto. Tokyo. As we see the Terrorize here. And not quite enough, but with that Infest Bomb, nicely played from Yataro just to ensure he's able to burst down that very valuable kill on Chris Luck, because he talked about how, I mean, he hasn't had the biggest impact, but he's still relatively high net worth.
I like this from Spirit. They get the Rosh and they just immediately start power playing. They get these 2 kills, they're going to look for the mid-tier 2 tower. And there's not really anything BeastCoast can do about this except try to cut the wave. It doesn't look like anyone is on the way. I do believe backdoor should be kicking in any second now, but the next wave is going to connect as well. All right, they don't even need it. Had enough time?
Yeah, that neutral, the Dragon Armor, what the hell it's called. Pretty good for pushing towers, you know? Makes you a little tankier as well. I like it. Dragon Scale, thank you. Thank you.
Dragon Armor?
Dragon Armor. I mean, scales are armor kind of for dragons.
I was like, are you talking about Dragon's Blood?
Oh, goodness.
That is Dragon with armor.
That's true. Dragon Blood.
Isn't the anime called Dota 2 Dragon's Blood?
Yeah, it's not lore accurate.
The skill is called Dragon Blood.
Yeah, I know.
All right, so who should sue who?
That's true. I mean, they did get Valve approval, so maybe they didn't realize.
So that's why it got greenlit, is because it was called something else.
Wait, is it Dragons with an apostrophe S?
Yeah.
Well, that's
Isn't
fine
it?
then. That's fine. I think either is technically correct here. So we're going to be... Yeah, Schofield found out again. He seems to be the first one to fall in love with these fights. He's going to survive for now, but never mind. Collapse comes in with that brief fight. He's going to buy back into the game, though. Toronto, Tokyo getting helped out with that Terrorize. Brambles being a nice zoning usage as well as the Void Spirit. You can see trying to do as much damage on the back line, but there's the Haunt to come out. Mars ult finally expended. Invoker. Looks like Toronto, Tokyo used the Aegis. But do they have enough damage to actually finish him again? Absolutely. Good lord. Double kill, though, for Yataro as he's continued to go ham. The kill onto the Spectre is the big one. Breathe Fire will help connect that kill for Team Spirit, and now Whisper getting chased. The Ghoul Frenzy going to work onto Mars, and the Dragon Tail will help get that triple kill for Yataro. And now Chris Luck, last one to survive.
He's out of luck.
And he's out of luck
not
for
out of
now.
luck. He just got luck.
Ooh, Dissimulate, dodges that Cursed Crown. Actually gets a kill. That's a
cute.
triple now. Keep in mind, he does have that Aghanim Scepter, but he might get right-click down as Viper, attempting to help him out here. That will connect, but don't think that's enough damage over time to kill the Void Spirit.
That was pretty sexy, getting that return kill and getting out, but still, overall, a good fight for Spirit. They extend their lead. There was a dieback from Snap. And Void Spirit, obviously, as you can see, they're the big breadwinner. Got 1,600 gold out of that fight. So we'll be looking at his next big item sometime soon. I do hope he doesn't buy Boots of Travel here. I do feel like a lot of players in this position buy travels, but I think the way this game is going, you want immediate value right now in the fights. I don't think it's a split game. What's some good cost-efficient damage he could buy here? Should he buy a damage item maybe even?
Like actual right-click, like a Deso
he could get a
Daedalus?
Deso. It synergizes with both Mars and the Spectre. Could maybe go Octarine. Just a standard item for this hero. The cooldown reduction is amazing. The cast range is nice.
I feel like
BKB.
the shard would be good this game too. It gives him that extra ring.
But again, the shard is utility, right? It gives a bit of damage on it, but I like BKB too, actually, because then you have like this guaranteed damage.
So you want him to buy every item that's like in the shop itself,
except Boots of Travel.
Except Boots of Travel.
Would also not advise Midas.
Okay, what about Greaves?
Could also be good for very different reasons.
Okay.
I would not buy that.
Ooh, Satanic All right, so Yataro, that is a third item, Satanic. We talked about this item being extremely good on Lifesteal. I mean, keep in mind, Void Spirit, he has Aghanim Scepter, so the Resonant Pulse, it gives him 2 charges, and each one silences. So with Satanic, well, you dispel that silence, and you can just get off your rage right away.
Yep.
So very, very nice pickup, and obviously gives you a ton of damage and survivability. Probably the best pickup you can go for here.
It's funny how this item used to basically never be picked up by Lifestealer, and now just that one change that gives it the Dispel makes it top tier for the hero.
I mean,
How it goes.
Yeah, I mean, that's perfect. I mean, before it had status resist, which was nice on a lot of other heroes, but you're right. Extra lifesteal not usually that big of a deal. Oh, we're seeing that combo again. There is the Cataclysm. Is this enough damage? It looks like it. And that is a high value kill onto Chris Luck.
Yep. Lifestealer's starting to build a really big gap here. That's 4K gold now.
Yeah, he is. I mean, that's an entire giant item ahead of everybody in the game right now. He's going for Satanic next, or sorry, the Scotty next. Double Satanic would be interesting, Cinder, but pretty sure that doesn't stack, sadly.
Yeah, that's very
Jump
sad.
In, collapse with the Dragon Tail. Oh, Yataro not able to chase him thanks to that Glimmer Cape. Scofield is actually going to pop his ult just to create some space, and a nice ult from Whisper, but the Cold Embrace keeping the Dragon Knight alive with that Infest Bomb as well, just for that extra HP boost again. And they should be able to get this tower, and I mean, there is a buyback onto the Void Spear. Might have to expend it here. No, they're just going to let Schofield die again.
No,
I mean, that's kind of been the beginning of every fight anyway.
Definitely gone now.
Arteezy is now plastered all over this melee racks.
Oh, look at him fade.
Yeah, now it looks like a much better version of Arteezy that we're used to seeing.
I kind of like that. He looked unsatisfied when he was on a high ground, and then as he flattened down, he was happy.
He's talking during the team fight as usual, so
My
just
bad.
ruining everybody's time here. As Whisper, I mean, still no buyback being expended here on the Void Spirit.
I don't know
a
what
little
they're
bit
waiting
surprised.
for. Save buyback for next game.
I guess so. Alacrity, I mean, this lets them do a lot of damage to these structures, and if they can kill Chris Luck, of course, he will have buyback. We'll see what happens here as the Spear on the other side actually doesn't connect on anything. Collapse just pops his BKB, trying to get that Dragon Tail off. He'll be successful, and this will be a dead Void Spear. They probably assume he doesn't have buyback because he held it for so long, but we, of course, know, as has been established from the last 30 seconds, that he's had it for 5 minutes. Up, Yataro will rage out. Does not have Infest, though, so there is chase probability here from BeastCost, but the reinitiation from Collapse, perhaps trying to create a little bit of space, but a nice ice wall from the Invoker. But here's the Mars ult onto the Shadow Realm Dark Willow. Not going to be able to kill him quite yet. Scatterblast to follow Yataro. There we see the Cataclysm doing massive damage to K1. You see Yataro just pigeonholing himself, just going for the one target, but Stinger in the meantime looks like he'll get right-clicked down by Collapse. And this is probably the beginning of the end of Game 2 for BeastCost, as they weren't able to take out the Void Spirit again, but again, they just have so much structural damage now. The Dragon Knight, Yataro with all this right click in addition to the Alacrity. So that's going to be double racks.
And not only, they didn't only get that, they also got the Chris Luck buyback, right? So
yeah,
the thing that BeastCost were even trying to hold on to and save ends up getting expended as well. So they didn't really gain anything whatsoever. Just a huge sequence of losses for them. I think they lost 15,000 gold in the last 4 minutes. It's pretty rough. Okay, it's been a little bit more. Let's give them 7 minutes on that. But yeah, that's rough. Like, this game looked very well within reach for BeastCost the whole time, and then these last 5 minutes have just been tragic. The fights, they've been outplayed. They haven't really seemed to be completely on the same page about when to go in, how to go in, being together. And they're playing into a Team Spirit lineup that is just, they're just in. These guys are connecting.
Man, Whisper is getting kited so hard. Good lord. And we're going to go up against a high-level Invoker. It's got to be the most annoying hero to play against, other than techies, of course.
Imagine how good this hero would be if BKB didn't exist.
Yeah.
Like, do you think it would be, I think it was just overall first pick.
Yeah,
in Dota.
probably.
Probably.
I mean, Cold Snap is unreal, just in and of itself. One of the best single target spells in the game, I think. Kind of underrated at times. He has a BKB now. And obviously he's had this Ag, so we've seen a few Cataclysms already. And now, ooh, speaking of Aghanim Scepter, Dragon Knight is now a black dragon. He's infested as well, and it looks like they're going to use that power to kill off Stinger, although he survives a little bit longer, but the right clicks are going to be applied to K1. That is a much better target to kill for sure. And now the Terrorize on the Void Spirit. This will be a dieback if they're able to take him out. And they will successfully, so that'll be game 2.
They are just crumbling. K1 just walked into them and died, right?
Yeah, he's trying to save his position 5 Viper.
How is he going to save him? A Spectre?
Yeah, it's a good question, Synderen.
This game is done and dusted. with a nice spinning dragon.
Yep, inside the Ancient.
Dude, that dragon looks sick, actually.
Yeah, that is a cool looking dragon. I don't think that was in the anime though. That's a little too scary. That would be NC-17 if you saw that dragon. Pretty sure. It was rated R technically, the anime. So
it was.
Very nice indeed. But yeah, BeastCoast not too hot in this second game. So Team Spirit, this is kind of what the team, you know, from the games that we've seen so far in this tournament, this is the team that we've kind of been expecting, right?
Yeah.
They're kind of off and on, it feels like. Obviously not as consistent as they would like to be, but they show up in game 2 big time.
Yeah, and I think now with this score, I'm going to just quickly have a look over here about the standings, because this has really big implications on the series we're going to watch next. So currently, with this updated score, BeastCoast will have 3 wins, and with the current standings, Liquid, unless they manage to grab game 2 against TNC, which they're definitely not favored in based on the tournament so far, if that's an expected 2-0 for TNC, then Liquid are eliminated.
Wow.
So if Liquid does not win their current game against TNC, if they do break even in that series and get a draw, they can still play for
that's with an extra day
tie with Team Spirit.
Yeah, I would not have guessed that coming in, but
yeah.
We'll see what the